Exactly 40 years ago, on the 14th of February 1984, the Kenyan government allowed its armed forces to kill over 5,000 Somalis from the Wajir clan. This tragic event was dubbed the Wagalla Massacre, and it was shrouded in secrecy for decades. The massacre's roots lie in the complex history of northeastern Kenya, a region long neglected by the central government. Home to ethnic Somali clans like the Wajir, Ajuran, and others, this land has been scarred by conflict over resources, identity, and political marginalization. In the early 1980s, tensions flared between the Wajir and Ajuran clans over grazing rights and livestock, a conflict that will soon be exploited by the state. On the morning of February 10, 1984, Kenyan security forces descended upon villages in Wajir. Thousands of men from the Wajir clan were forcibly rounded up. The official reason was a security operation. The reality was far more sinister. The operation covered the entire Wajir district, including Tarabaj, Lahele, Wajir Bor, and Horof Harar. The men that were rounded up were transported to the Wagalla airstrip in military lorries. On reaching there, they were forced to strip naked and lie on the ground under the scorching sun. They were deprived of food and water for a straight 5 days. The women who were left behind were not safe. Their homes were burned. Most of them were sexually assaulted by the officers. Their valuables were stolen, and those who refused the sexual assault were badly beaten and even killed. For each day that passed, these men suffered. Exposed to the elements, they died in the thousands, while their families were kept in the dark about their fate. Fear gripped the town of Wajir and its outskirts as rumors spread of what was happening to their loved ones. Then, on the 5th day, in an attempt to escape, some men started to run towards the bushes surrounding the airstrip. Without warning, the soldiers opened fire. Thousands of lives were lost in a matter of hours. Those who survived the initial gunfire fled into the desert, where many succumbed to their injuries, thirst, and hunger. The massacre had left a deep scar in the community, one that still remains unhealed. For years, the government attempted to cover up the scale of the massacre, claiming that only 57 people had been killed, but survivors and human rights organizations knew better. They spoke of thousands of people who had lost their lives that day. Their families were left without answers, justice, or accountability. It would take decades for the truth to emerge. In the year 2000, the Kenyan government finally acknowledged the massacre, and years later, the Truth, Justice and Reconciliation Commission confirmed the horrific details of what happened at Wagalla. The report laid bare the atrocities committed by the Kenyan security forces and recommended reparations for the survivors and the families of the dead. But for many survivors and the families of those who perished, justice remains elusive. Reparations have been slow, and the memories of that terrible day still haunt the people of Wajir and the entire Somali community. The Wagalla massacre is not just a tale of a forgotten tragedy, but a reminder of the deep scars left by government brutality and impunity. The people of Wajir continue to call for justice, for recognition, and for healing. As we remember the lives lost and the pain endured, we must ask ourselves, what does it take to heal from such a wound? And how long must a community wait for justice? The story of Wagalla is one that must not be forgotten. It is a story of resilience, of injustice, and of the unyielding demand for truth. We remember them today, not just for the lives lost, but for the hope that one day their stories will lead to lasting change.